I mean, I'm expecting you to still bully me throughout.
I suppose my interest in esports probably started sometime soon after I actually started playing League of Legends, which was around 2014, about the World Cup in 2014, and that was in Brazil. So I might have ended up just sitting down and watching some pro play. And then from there, I was kind of hooked on professional League of Legends.
That manner is... Alright, look away, observer fast. Observer, look away. We didn't see it.
I've not been casting for too long. I've been casting since maybe the back end of 2019, so you can call it just over a year. But prior to then, I was actually a coach. I was on M&M.
If Broker dies, it's going to be devastating.
You might hear sort of Coach Jamada come out in my casts because I'll just be disappointed in something that the teams are doing.
Of the league, assuming they end here, because hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Artorias is ending. Go on, Artorias, you can do it. Everyone's on him, he's flashing. Artorias is
No.
He charges back in. Artorias is down. Barrage.
Well, I've got a surprise for you, everybody. Jamada, who just featured in the video that we saw, is here today with us on the desk. I'm obviously joined by Gulbug as well. We'll be breaking down all the action from today's NLC matches. Now, of course, before we get into it, we're going to say thank you to our sponsors, Telia, MasterCard, and El Giganten. I tried to say that in the accent, but I think it went horrendously wrong.
It was...
It was okay. It's a 50-50. We'll take it or leave it. Of course, make sure you go and check us out on socials because we have a giveaway, Player of the Day. Go and check it out. And again, go and follow us on our social media channels. If you type NLC LOL into those channels, you will find us. So make sure you go and check us out because we are giving away RP through our Play of the Day rewards. Make sure you just get involved. Whatever the instructions are on those channels, it'll be easy for you to find out and you can get yourself some RP to boot. So who doesn't love free RP for just getting a little bit involved with the plays that we have going on today? And of course, we should take a look about where we are in the matches in terms of the standings. Let's have a look at standings in Group A. As you can see, we didn't see many matches from Group A yesterday. That will be remedied today as we have more coming your way. But BTXL and Tricked at the top of the standings, and Nordavind and Dusty down at the bottom.
And that's the thing. Dusty, once again, we talked about it a bit yesterday, but to me, they are still one of the biggest surprises coming into this group. I'd expect that it would have been one of Godsent or Granite coming down there, but they have been pulling their own weight, and I just can't say the same thing about Dusty. It's just, you see these basic mistakes that just shouldn't be there, and it's kind of the same dust that we got last split as well. I just don't know if they're cursed at this point.
It feels like they are not quite firing on all cylinders, Gulborg, which is exactly what I think you're trying to get at with the roster that they've got. With the names that they have on that roster, you would expect them to be doing better than they are. I guess we will just see how it goes. Let's have a go into Let's move into Division B. We can have a look at what's happening on the other side here, and actually a little more even Jamada across the board. Fnatic Rising, though, not as dominant as they looked last split. Although with the addition of Pride once more, did seem to bounce back to their previous form.
Yeah, I think having the sub top laner, you know, when you don't play a match day with your full roster, it might feel a bit weird, and you had the full week. So not seeing them be 3-0 at the moment is definitely a bit of a surprise for, I think, most people. Cova and Eminem on the bottom side, I don't think that's as big of a surprise. But all in all, I think the group has probably shaped up, give or take, how most people were expecting it so far.
Yeah, and it's still relatively even. And one of the teams that we generally have seen do better and better throughout the NLC has been Barrage, a team that has quietly built a very solid roster, quietly built a good infrastructure behind that roster, and have continued to perform. Will this be their split? Well, let's take a look at Barrage in more detail.
I didn't see you there. Just a quick update. I wanted to tell you guys, Tricked is playing this week against BTXL, Godsent on the NLC stream. Don't miss out. Come and support us. It's going to be another 2-0 week. See you then.
I see you just fell a victim of a Danish hacker attack here of why Trick will be superior this week, you guys. You thought we were going to be talking about UK Barrage? No, that was not the case. We got Trick coming into this one. Is there something then what cannot do a coach who plays the piano, who's got the brain, and who's as handsome as he is bald? We'll get back into that to match of the week later. with BTXL and Trick. So stay tuned for that.
I can't work out if this was planned and Guldborg just intended and trolled us and intended that video to come up. Anyway, it's great that Tricks have got Seth Everman coaching them, because I'm sure he's going to be fantastic. But let's actually have a look at Barrage and see what they've.
And Momos and Random, and I'm really happy to play for them. We're all like get along really well. We have a lot of fun, and like we found a common ground really quickly how we want to approach the game. So I think we can go really far.
Who did Fev even play against NLC? Just some random.
We've been scrimming a lot actually, almost every day. We had only like one of day a week, so yeah, a lot of scrims and solo queue.
People coming down, the Weaver's Wall's been put out, and he's going to try and pop some barrels.
I think the academies are always the teams to beat, so it will be exciting to match against them. We already obviously beat Fnatic, so we're gonna do it again and like probably beat Excel along the way to the top 2.
Kevo gets knocked, but he can't quite get the kill yet, and Kevo gets a quadra kill! Barrage, what the hell was
We need to improve in like inhibiting ourselves of making too much plays and like being a little more calm and composed.
I think right now we're in pretty good form. I'm really excited to show what we're made of, and I think we can go really far.
We are really prepared and we have talented people, and we can take the whole split.
We actually get to hear from Barrage this time round, and of course they will be playing today later on. We will be seeing Tricked as well, as Guldborg did allude to. Tricked will be playing in today's competition. But again, Barrage have been looking strong, and they had a pretty good performance yesterday. I got to interview Sefe afterwards. Very, very stoic personality, but he had a great performance on the Alistair yesterday, and actually was kind of a contender for one of our MVPs of the day. So, Barrage, they've got a strong bot lane, they've got a really strong roster in general. I think they could be challenging in that group as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I like to kind of allude to what they talked about in that video. He said that some of the issues they had was that they needed to be a bit more calm and collected, and if they kind of could do that, then they could actually chase it for the top here. But I think the games we saw yesterday weren't as calm, as collected as they would have wanted it to be. But as you said yourself, Sefa really came in clutch and was definitely my MVP of that Barrage match.
Yeah, and I think it's important to add as well, things like that, composure, that will build over time. The longer these players play together, they will get more comfortable with each other. They won't make sort of silly snap decisions like we may have seen yesterday. And, they will progressively get better, and they will continue to challenge for the top, I believe.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at what we've got coming up today. We will have 4 matches, as always. Starting off the day will be Nordavind versus Godsent. Then it will be BTXL versus Tricked. Barrage versus Kova later on, which I think is going to be an interesting one, because Kova seemingly gaining strength. Singularity also then taking on Eminem to round the day out. Then Singularity just coming off a pretty tough loss to Fnatic Rising yesterday. That was a bit of a rough game for them, but Fnatic definitely finding form. And I guess we should turn our eyes towards that first match of the day, which is going to be Godsent versus Nordavind. What do you guys think that this is important in this matchup? Because Nordavind are yet to get a win, and that's surprising for a lot of people, because they are a roster that, again, I talked about strength of roster, strength of individuals. I feel like they should have a win by now. Is this the game that they have the best chance to do so?
So it's definitely, yeah, I'd say so. I think Godsent has been looked very lacking so far. But what I want to highlight specifically is this individual that you're talking about. Let's have a look at Chrisberg. Chrisberg is topping the lead with highest CS per minute. He's sitting at 10.2, and that's while they're 0-2, and that's while he is being targeted down in the bot side. The fact that he is able to do that is so impressive. But the problem with Nordavind is that it's their in-game decision. Some of their lane rotation is losing them tempo. We've seen it when they do Rift Hells. They just lose leads instead of getting them. And I think a lot of it has come down to the lack of priority we've gotten in the lanes coming out from Nordavind. I want to see more comfort for them. We saw some of the Yone. They couldn't do anything out of the map. They were forced to just walk in fog of war, taking bad fights because they had no priority and they had no vision. And that are some of the things we need to see change from Nordavind.
Yeah, I'm on the same page here as Goldborg, honestly. I think as well, on top of that, I kind of want to see some closer to standard to meta drafts. As much as I love seeing things like Yone and Wukong come out in this kind of meta, you're kind of raising the execution threshold really high to make your players work for these wins. And like we say, does this roster necessarily deserve to be 0-2? No. Did they have 2 pretty tough opening games? Kind of. This will definitely be their best opportunity to win into Godsent, but honestly, I think Godsent might not go down easily. They definitely do have, some shining lights. Tiara yesterday really popped off on the Galio. He had like a really phenomenal game, despite the level 1. After that, he was really all over the map. Oh, that's Kova.
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. It was a good performance from Tiara, though, mate. It was Tiara.
I'm thinking far ahead. I apologize, but yeah.
It's okay.
We do have Kova later on in the day, Jamada, so don't you worry about that. But I think you have highlighted an important issue here, an important thing to talk about. But one of the questions I have, and I know this might be a little bit, maybe something that you weren't expecting to be asked, but does Kerberos, having Kerberos on your roster, what does it mean? Like, because I feel like Kerberos has this very, very specific style of play where, you know, the Wukongs come out, the crazy side lane picks come out. Is this something that we should like rein back on? Do we think we put Kerberos on back on tank duty? Let's hope he doesn't build a Triforce on it, but like back on tank duty. Or do we kind of let Kerberos have more skill expression, more freedom of expression, and go down the super crazy picks that we see him go for back in the Prime League, like the Tryndamere, for instance?
That you can make that work. Like, as long as you get a priority lane that works for your junglers, well, fine. But the fun mismatch for me here is that you got Kerb and you got Chrisberg in the same team, and they're both teams that, or both players that can be drawing resources. But I'm not the biggest Kerberos genius. I haven't been watching him in the UKLC. You guys would probably be able to answer that question much better than me.
Yeah, well, sure. I'll take up on it then. Yeah, I think when you have someone like Kerberos who has loads of these wacky picks, it can really pay dividends to just give him what he wants, right? You know, it's not fun seeing Kerberos on things like Shen. It just isn't. You know, the wackier picks like that Tryndamere, like you said, Scoundrel, just things that will throw teams off. It's definitely like a nice curveball to have in draft, and you can really utilize it well.
And obviously then we have Godsent on the other side of the coin. I know we've focused a little bit on Nordavind here, but Gulbug, what about Godsent? They have I would say a quiet roster. Like I wouldn't look at anybody on that roster and think, maybe apart from M-Test, and think those super recognizable names. But I think a roster that can perform when necessary.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know that yet, obviously. Yeah, but some of my main issues coming out from Godsent has definitely been the laning phase. They're just getting straight up solo killed. They're getting 2v2 killed. And the thing is that when they won their game, they still got 2v2 killed, they still got solo killed, but they got out on the map even when they could start to play the macro and they could start to play around indecision. He is the only shining light I've seen on this team, because they gave up basically every early game objective in the early game. They just try to go for the cross maps instead, so he will have a level advantage. When they get out on the map on an even footing and they start implementing that macro, they're honestly not that bad. But the problem is when they get out in the like mid game, they're always just so far behind.
Yeah, the laning phase, yeah, for sure.
It's tough. You fall behind, and especially it seems like Godsent, if they do fall behind, they kind of struggle to find their footing to regain momentum in what they're doing. So, yeah, it's tough if you have these really shaky laning phases. If they do actually come out stable, then they do look okay, but their first 2 games... No.
I mean, if you want proof of that, go back and watch the Godsent Dusty match. I think it was from the very first day that we had. You can see the level that Godsent fell behind, only to then come back through some smarter late game and sort of team-based decisions in the late game. You can find that on, I think the VOD will be up on the NLC YouTube somewhere. But essentially, you can go and look at that, and you can see that Godsent have what it takes in the later stages of the game to make sensible game decisions. But it's about getting there on an even level, which is something that they've struggled with. Let's have a look at predictions for today, though. Of course, we have all of our games coming your way, and everybody has gone for Nordavind. So everyone looking to buck the trend of Nordavind's scoreline currently. Tricked versus XL, split directly down the board.
Even right there.
That's I'm not sure about that one, bud. But it is 3-3 apiece, which I think is a very interesting prediction given the sort of the caliber of the XL roster. But hey, do you know what? Gulbug sometimes knows what he's talking about. Barrage versus Kova. Gulbug has bucked the trend here and gone for Kova. I will be asking him about that once we get to that matchup later on, because that is an interesting prediction. Obviously, Kova looked very strong in their game yesterday. And then Singularity versus Eminem. I'm almost 100% convinced that Jamada has voted Eminem because he's wearing Eminem stuff in his picture, and therefore it is purely by brand association that he's picked Eminem in this particular scenario.
Look, loyalty is loyalty.
Your loyalty is loyalty. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that one, mate. We've got a quick break, and when we come back, we have our champion select for the first night. First game of the day, everybody, and it is going to be Godsent versus. That's not Godsent versus Dusty. It's Godsent versus Nordavind. Me and Goldberg were just talking about Godsent versus Dusty, and it is in my head. Godsent versus Nordavind. Right now, Godsent are 1-1, and Nordavind yet to find a win, and hoping to try and turn that around today. Because I think a lot of people have faith in the Nordavind roster. Clearly, when it comes to predictions, we have faith in the Nordavind roster here coming into this matchup. They just need to find their stride. They just need to sort of, again, play around Chrisberg. Clearly, if you give him the resources to play around him and build that comp around him, he will do what is necessary. And like, his favorite champion is the most meta AD carry in the world right now, which is the Kaiser. So I mean, Chrisberg is definitely in a good spot to do well. It is going to be the Seraphine ban here. I think that was something that Silk, like a hard Seraphine player. I can't remember if like Silk was a big Seraphine player in the mid lane.
Obviously, he can flex it, but I also think like Nordavind is not even about giving Chrisberg the resources, because we see what he could do by himself. It's not like he actually needs these resources. Obviously, he does better. I think that you kind of need to stabilize some of the other solo laners of Nordavind just to actually make sure that that's an investment that will return to you once you have that priority and you can go out and then help Chrisberg, for example. Going into this draft, we already see the Aphelios ban, which is kind of interesting because usually Kaiser has been the most first pickable one, and then after that, you see the Aphelios as the kind of counter to it, but not this time. Jungler's being taken away, Nidalee, Talia, that leaves Pantheon open if you want to go for that as well.
And Pantheon or Olaf have to remain open now.
Exactly.
Which is the interesting thing, which Godsent don't really care about. Yeah, so both are going to be up, so we'll be curious to see whether Nordavind prioritize the Kaiser over both of those two. Like we say, it's Chrisberg's favorite champion, and it's pretty much the S-tier champion in the AD carry meta at the moment. And we know how much Nordavind will happily just put him on the champion, so I'll have to see
Here's the thing as well, because you can only pick 2 of them. I mean,
Yeah.
you can only pick one of them as a blue side here, and there's like 3 of those open that you can go for, and they just decide to go for it. So you can obviously go for the Olaf and the Pantheon at the same time, but then you're already like, oh, this Pantheon is for sure going onto a solo lane. I'm actually not sure if that's going to be bad or if that's going to be good. I guess it depends how well-rounded that composition is going to be around it. But I like if they lock in this Tristana. It's something we've seen Emtist on before in the NLC fall as well, and he's been happy to play it. It's also something that they've started picking up in the LPL, and something you will see target banned against some really good AD carry Tristana players.
Yeah, and I was going to touch on, even though we've been focusing on the Pantheon and the Olaf, Indecision still loves his Graves, kind of, it seems like, as he's locked it in above both of those picks. So Sharp is going to have pretty much pick the litter. And I mean, Nordavind, it would be kind of strange to see them lock both of them. The Pantheon and the Olaf, but they can certainly pick between one of the 2 if they really feel like it. And Hover of the Olaf at the moment could just see it be locked in. It's not the most comfortable matchup in the world to Graves, but you certainly should see things like early Dragon Priority be sort of the key in that matchup. And Sharp, time ticks down, he's going to lock it for himself.
Yeah, and there's opportunity for you to still grab a Thresh here while you're not before the second ban phase. Really good into Tristana as well. Kind of disengages some of the Leonas, and also just been an S tier support at the moment. So that would be really good for some disengage against this Tristana, who kind of want to go in and Roomba Stomp this Kai'Sa.
Roomba Stomp.
Oh.
Roomba Stomp. It's going to be the Camille early lock-in here for a Kerberos. And actually, it's a Kerberos pick that I think he is very confident on as well. It's something that he's particularly it is Goomba. It is Hitbrain is just asking if it is indeed Goomba Stomp.
Roomba is the vacuum cleaner that drives around.
Roomba is the little vacuum cleaner that literally drives itself around. Yes, and Goomba is the little mushroom things in the Mario. And so yes, it is Volibear though, picked up into the top lane versus Kerberos on this Camille.
Yeah, Volibear can do a pretty good job at stabilizing that lane. Honestly, yeah, just outright wins the laning phase into Camille in most situations. With the Camille locked in, though, I wouldn't be surprised to see Godsent follow this Galio ban with Twisted Fate ban too, just to remove away the both of the like global pairings that you'll typically see with this Camille. It just becomes such a huge dive backline threat. And if you're Nordavind, you've kind of got a couple of options. I think 2 support bans would probably make sense. Right now, they've opened out with the Gragas just in case. I mean, I don't know where they feel like Volibear would be going, but Gragas probably the bottom lane ban here.
That's interesting as well, because like it's, you know, the Volibear is most likely going to the top side of the map, so Gragas would only have 2 positions, or actually only 1 position to fill really at this point, and that means that you can just ban, like, Alistar is looking pretty good as a support here as well, just because you've already gotten rid of Galio, you've gotten rid of Leona, the counter of Gragas is gone, and that kind of only leaves open Maokai as well, and Rel, but not something we've seen the best of in terms of experience, of our past experience.
Rel's had mixed success. Fresh has gone to...
That's just Alistar counters right there. That is very interesting.
I mean, I want to know what Godsent are actually going to lock in now in terms of support. Rakan, wow. Over everything? Okay. I mean, it's certainly strange. I mean, to me, now Nordavind probably just end up going Alistar and they're happy with their bot lane matchup. That's the only thing I could assume. And then they just pick up whatever mid lane they feel like.
Like, you could just go Alistar Orianna here. Like, Alistar Orianna would probably be a really nice way. Or Syndra, yeah, Alistar Syndra, Alistar Orianna, both 2 really good ways to round this draft out. And then you have huge amounts of DC, you've got great single target lockdown, you've got lots of ball delivery systems. Or yeah, as you like the Syndra. I mean, I can't compete with Gulbug. Yeah, there we go. I think if Alistar gets locked in, that makes the perfect sense for the end of this composition here.
So the thing is with Syndra and Orianna is that Orianna will do better in the late game when you go into those team fight scenarios, but pre-6 when we're talking about skirmishes around an Olaf, Syndra offers so much. She's basically uncontested in the mid lane unless this Tristana is a flex pick towards the mid lane and you pick an AD carry now, but outside of that, she will have a stun ready from level 3, and that means the skirmishes you take with Olaf is just going to be that much harder. And if they lock this Victor in, Victor is someone who will be pushed in, but will have wave priority as soon as he gets his items, but obviously that's towards the mid game as well. So you're looking at Ericsson, who will probably be getting the early priority in the mid lane, which will leave room open for Sharp to come in and dominate the early game.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling that Nordavind have a wide open goal to score in the early to mid game here and get things snowballing. I do have the feeling, though, that again, if you leave this too far, if you let this go even too long in the game, you've got a Victor or Tristana. I am starting to worry about the late game power of Godsent if I'm Nordavind. So a lot of the pressure is on Nordavind to perform in that early game, in my opinion.
Yeah, in that sense, but I don't even feel like Nordavind scaled too poorly with the Camille and the Kai'Sa anyway, and even Syndra's still going to one-shot some of the squishies. I'm actually more concerned for Godsent because of the lack of early game priority that I'm expecting coming out of most of these lanes, with the exception of top. Because if they have a shaky early game, they can like just outright fall apart, and I don't expect Nordavind to fumble a super big lead.
I think the most important thing to take notice is this game is going to be the first skirmish around level 6 coming out from Godsent. Depending on how that will go, and if they can make it work with the Rakan ultimate, try to get a pick with it, that's probably going to dictate the course of the game, just because of the scaling elements that's also in the draft of Nordavind on a side lane pressure and an AD carry like Kai'Sa.
I'm feeling pretty comfortable with my Nordavind prediction after draft as well. Sometimes I feel a bit shaky about my prediction after draft. Sometimes I feel a little bit shaky, but yeah, I'm feeling a little bit more confident about my prediction following draft. But let's hand it over to Hip Rain and Orcs, who predicted the same as us. We'll have to see what they think getting into this game.
I kind of just hard agree with you, Excandrel. I'm feeling very comfortable after seeing that Nordavind draft. They have got themselves some pretty good lanes, on top of the fact that they also have got themselves some good scaling. But like Gulborg said, it was that level 6 when you get the ulti from the Rakan. Can Godsent make something work with that? That is going to be the question. But I think, like they were saying on the desk, keep our eyes on the mid jungle early. Ericsson probably shoving out the wave, assisting Sharp to kind of just take over the map on the Olaf.
Yeah, I mean, that's the game plan. I kind of understand the late decisions coming from Godsent in the draft. They opted to prioritize picking up Rakan earlier, and it's like, I don't get the thought process. The only thing I could think is they were keeping Tristana open as a flex, but I realistically don't think that was going to come up. I think if they'd picked the Syndra, it would have secured them a stronger mid-jungle combo, and then you could have gone for counter-pick in the support role and guaranteed yourself on a good matchup. So, yeah, I'm a bit unsure. Godsent kind of fumbled a bit at the end, I feel, and Nordavind really have a strong setup for this game. I think it's not like Godsent can't win, but Nordavind come out of the draft, I feel, stacked in their favor. What I'm looking for from Godsent is indecision. I think he's been their standout player in their game so far, who's been a big driving force in securing advantages. And a lot of that is off the back of making good trades across the map.
Yeah, you don't always, unless you're like hard in draft, you're not actually going to lose game based off the draft. There is still, conditions this team can play to, but Nordavind obviously do have a very good team drafted for themselves right now. So we'll have to keep our eyes on the execution really from Godsent. It feels like they have fewer kind of windows for mistakes they can make, where Nordavind do have, they can make the odd mistakes here and there, and it shouldn't be the end of the world for them. But
I think
we'll keep our eyes on it for the moment.
Big thing me is tracking and decision, because as I was saying, cost map players are what he goes for. And this is something you might have to do in this game where you're lacking pressure, particularly around mid, but already Nordavind is starting with a level 1 invade.
They stepped out of the bush as well, so they've been seen now in decision. That is not the start he wanted. Has to flash the wall. Red buff will get de-aggroed a little bit, and Sharp actually just slowing the take. He's going to go for the chickens here. Just so he can get a perfect timer on everything.
He's taking as much as he can from the jungle. Easy for him to clear up the Raptors, quickly get that level 2. Make sure Graves is cleared off, but that's flashed down from a decision already, and that's also him being denied a lot of camps. Now, his bot lane is losing in priority. Alistar, obviously a champion who struggles to really contest level 1, so that's the only sort of shining light. We saw situations yesterday in the Fnatic game where an invade was devastating because there was priority on the other side of the map. Here, Graves actually has an opportunity to invade and try and steal some camps back. You can see the pings coming out. But this is dangerous without a flash, and with Syndra pushed up so far, and he's been spotted. So, if Nordavind really want, they can punish this.
Yeah, they do have to be a little careful as their bot lane are catching waves underneath their tower right now, and that allowed M-Test and Quick Timer to move into this jungle and make sure that their jungler is safe, taking this red buff. So ultimately, it will be a split map. Touch and Chrisberg will have to be a little careful as they are being shoved in under their tower. However, tower diving and Alistar Kai'Sa, probably not something you really want to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like this end goal of this for Nordavind was allowing them to apply more pressure topside, and you can look at the CS difference in the top lane already. Zombie just hasn't been able to touch the wave. He's been zoned off so heavily because he knows the map is split, Olaf's here. If I get chunked out, if I step up too far, they will dive me. And it's Nordavind playing around their strength in the late game, their insurance, to split push threat off Kerberos.
Yeah. It's exactly what you want when you have the Camille, is you want the ability to be able to unlock her as quick as possible. Let becoming able to sit in the side lane and be a nuisance.
And I think, so harking back to the draft, this Rakan pickup. In a map split situation, Rakan isn't the greatest champion to have because he just doesn't apply as much pressure as a lot of other supports. His engage potential isn't quite as good as the likes of Leona or Alistair. And as well as that, like something like the Kai'Sa, the supercharged movement speed can sometimes be enough just to run you out of the grand entrance. So, and even more of a point is he's not that tanky for dives. So really, they can't do much here. Graves is able to equalize in terms of camps, but it does mean Sharp can apply pressure on that top side. And he's continuing the map split. You can see he's hovering around near the Raptors and has just cleared them again. So he's maintaining this. He's trying to apply as much pressure to Zombie as possible. And with the priority mid lane, we could potentially see Ericsson move up and look for a dive. Zombie's just TP'd as well. This is massive because if he goes down, no way of getting back.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not they decide to actually go for anything in the top side. Did see Sharp actually reset. Ericsson, as predicted, got complete lane control, still getting shoved in heavily. CS lead is already starting to build in the top and the mid lane right now. And Chrisberg in touch, while they've been shoved under tower, they've kept themselves relevant. They're going to be down a little bit after M-Test clears out this wave, but it's nothing really to write home about. It's not a massive discrepancy. It's not like they're getting completely bullied around. I say that. As Quick Time jumps in, touch goes to the head, but pole onto 2, and Sharp's actually already in the area. So it's just going to be a light trade as Sharp will spot out this ward.
I mean, this is a very safe bot lane. Both champions have dashes to get away. But it's one of those scenarios where that's ideal when you're looking to play around your top lane, and Godsent haven't been able to do that so far. So you see Sharp prioritizing the early dragon pickup, but it does mean that on the top side, Kerberos has to play safe, and they have to essentially sacrifice some of that top side jungle towards indecision.
Yeah. There's no jungle on the other side for Sharp to clear out if he wanted to counter invade. But Kerb actually getting chunked out by Zombie there.
This is very dangerous, especially if Zombie hits 6. That is a free pickup on a kill. Kerberos taking the rough end of that trade, and it could actually be really costly. I think if Zombie hits 6 on this wave, they dive this 100%.
Yeah.
Essentially, even if he doesn't.
It looks like you were right on that one, Kerb. Dodging out on the blind, has the hook shot, gets himself the tactical sweep off. He's the one with 6 now, and Zombie could get caught out. Puts the shield on with the Stormbringer.
Yeah, I think Zombie being a little bit low and not hitting level 6 is the critical thing there. Get his ult, they just go for that. You deactivate the tower, it's pretty easy going. But didn't want to risk it, didn't want to feed a kill to the Camille because that would be devastating.
Sharp actually finds out quick time here. He's not level 60, he hasn't got the cleanse available. That's going to be a good pull by Touch to make sure Sharp's the right. Sharp's going to heal up on the Honey Fruit, and flash burnt from Sharp.
Yeah, I mean, just a mistake. You're bringing your support up, and the whole point of that is that you can move together as a unit, 2 members instead of 1, so when you go for Warden like that, you have the instant assistance. Touch was a little bit behind. Sharp went too early, and so by the time he got there, Sharp was low. Sharp had a flash out, even though he did find a good pulverize to keep him safe.
Touch actually getting for a bit of hurt here. They are looking for M-Test. The minions actually ate a lot of that Capian Rain, but Chrisberg flashes forward. M-Test going very, very low, and it's first blood for Chrisberg.
Interesting decision making is what I'm going to say. I'm just jumping in on the Alistair. Probably not the smartest decision there. I guess they just underestimated how quickly Kai'Sa could get there. Underestimated the pressure that Alistair can land. But again, with Phase Rush, once he's comboed you, he's going to land that Empowered Stun, especially as he has Flash to match you. Just, yeah, a little bit naive, I'll say. And that's given Chrisberg an advantage. We've already talked about how Chrisberg gets so much gold in his pocket, is able to be a big driving force in the late game. Giving him a kill and a CS lead this early, really favorable for Nordavind.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we did have a quick pause. Stilk's computer froze. That's why it just took a free Syndra combo for free, but looks like that issue has been resolved, and it was only a minor pause, so we'll be heading back into the game any second.
I just find it funny, he said 5-second freeze when Syndra used combo. Normally, what I have is when Syndra uses a combo, my screen goes grey. I'm not sure if there's a fix for that one.
Well, luckily for Stilk, Ericsson decided not to kill him. It's still got this lane shoving in very heavily into the face of Stilk, though, and Kerberos, he had a moment where it was a little hairy, but he's getting jumped onto. Sky Splitter's shield actually means Zombie does a lot of damage and trades back pretty effectively there, because he's standing in the minion wave. That kind of built-in static shiv you get on the Volley Bear actually
Yeah,
I mean, a fair amount of damage to Curb.
Getting hit by the E as well kind of really does a lot of work. The Sheen proc, and Kib just didn't really trade back at all with that stun coming in. So, oh, I mean, Ericsson should be out here. We're gonna replay. So, I mean, this decision, they clearly want to go for a pick on the touch, but he has his summoners and he just combos M-Test instantly. And with the Ignite come down, the empowered auto, there's just no way this was ever gonna work out. Like, even in this sort of wilder situation, I feel like Alistair can just pulverize and run away. Even if M-Test doesn't die there, I don't see the value they get from that play, because I just think Alistair never dies when it's only the two of them.
Well,
but he wanted to be proactive.
Sharp is on the Rift Herald order. Everyone's on the other side of the map, and Kerber's already down here, spotted them out, so he knows his red buff's getting taken, but Sharp's okay trading red buff here. He's trading jungle camps for objectives for the team, and he's still keeping himself relevant in farm.
I think this is what we have seen typically from Godsent, a lot of cross-map trading, especially when the enemy team has early pressure. Problem is, it's now a Dragon in the pocket of Nordavind, and this Herald is going to make that push far quicker. Even the Tristana's tower taking power isn't really going to be enough. Yeah. And I think they plan just to zone Zombie away and start hammering away at this tower.
Making sure Chrisberg actually gets the solo plates as well, at least the first one.
I think given the first one, because that one's pretty squishy, goes down quickly, but then they want to ensure that they're able to get this tower. Sharp will help out with the attack speed, and they should just be able to get this final play and then throw the Herald down for the last two.
I mean, that was really smart, because also the resistances that the tower gets is based on how many people are about, so it doesn't get as much resistances by Chrisberg getting the solo plate.
Oh, that's so much gold for both the Olaf and the Kaiser. You can see almost just shy of 1,000 gold lead between 80 carries, and despite this test lead in the jungle, Sharp is still up about 400, 500. I'm going to go for the second charge here, and we'll be able to get it. Or not.
Zombie's able to stop it, but Zombie might just lose his life. Has to ult underneath the tower, flashing away as well. As Indecision comes in with a two-man blind. End of the line's going to do a little bit of damage to Chrisberg, but I don't think they're going to commit to anything else there. Flash and ulti by Zombie to keep himself alive.
Yeah, I mean, kind of playing with fire there from Zombie. We did stop the second charge, so there was some benefit to it. But it now means Dragon in 40 seconds. Zombie still doesn't have TP, and without flash and ult, he's not really that useful. Sort of cautious about how relevant Godsent's contest will be on this next Dragon. I don't think they need this Dragon. They don't need to contest it. But obviously they could, if they were able to pick it up, it would be a nice way of denying the soul from coming too early.
Touch goes in to keep Curve alive as a satchel charge will pop. Curve taking a fair amount of damage, but he's okay just chilling for the moment while his team were making the plays on the other side. Does look like Dragon is going to be contested by both of these teams. Sharp and Chrisberg have joined in. The Hex Flash is coming over the wall. They are just jumping into Rakan. Quick Timer has nowhere to go, and Chrisberg will find the kill. Dragon's just going to get ignored. Godsent, they're at least going to get the crab to work with.
Yeah, I mean, they get the vision. Oh, Ericsson.
Oh, Ericsson does have flash. Has to flash away from the gravity field. Takes a lot of damage, but is going to live.
Yeah, just need to be careful there, because the only thing that Godsent can really go for in terms of that play is trying to make a pick. Realistically, after Rakan is down, with the lack of ultimate on the Volibear, there's no way they really contest this one. I think it was a good job from Godsent to take the vision and respect and back away, but just a really nice pick setup, using the Camille ultimate to just guarantee that Rakan can't get out despite all his mobility and touch.
Oh, M-Test could be in trouble here. Touch actually lands the knock up to... Sorry, Quick Time lands the knock up on to Touch to keep him alive.
But again, the pressure's there, and it's just more and more resources being loaded on a Chrisberg, and M-Test struggling to keep up.
Yeah, if we do look at the items on M-Test and Chrisberg right now, those two kills and the CS plate on top of the plate gold that Chrisberg's been able to pick up for himself. He has already upgraded his Q, got the Noon Quiver, got the Serrated, and the Pickaxe. It is just a Noon Quiver on M-Test right now. And Chrisberg's getting more solo plates here. We'll share that one with Touch, but multiple people are coming in, and I think we might be looking at a little bit of a tower dive here. And M-Test just preemptively flashes, so tower dive's over, but M-Test flashless.
Yeah, a little bit early in the flash, but I guess with Alistair having flash, you have to be concerned about him going for a Q flash. Either way, it forces them to kind of back away from the dive, but Nordavind are happy. They got the plate. They got M-Test flash essentially without committing anything, so they'll happily walk away from that one. And already, we have the Gale Force Tier 2 boots and the Dirk from Chrisberg. He is monster fed right now on this Kaiser.
Yeah, really scary stuff.
I think my concern going in the later stages of the game is the Tristana is really going to be limited in how freely she can team fight, as is the Victor. The fact that we have the likes of Camille and Alistair and Olaf who can all very much get on top of them and cause a monumental amount of issues. Even light follow-up from the Kai'Sa, the Syndra, would just make things difficult. You can see they're looking to punish Silk here. Combo doesn't land.
Yeah, he's able to dodge away on the Scatter of the Week, gets his phase rush off, and he is out of there. Nordavind, though, just going to crash this wave and step away.
Yeah, the setup's good, but the execution a little bit off. I feel like Silk may have kind of understood that the pressure from Nordavind was on the bot side. And it is just being continued here. I feel like Godsent have kind of fallen into this sort of defensive style of play. You can see M-Test on the top side of the map just trying to pick up farm. As we talked about the death, yeah, I mean, 2,500 gold lead is...
Okay, that was close to a kill in mid lane. They are jumping in onto Ericsson, though. Ericsson's just going to die to the storm. He did unleash power in that.
Ericsson playing a bit aggressive here. You had the support from your team before, but not there. And QuickTime are able to turn things around. So, small positive for Godsent. Still very much in the hole right now. But as we said in the test, they do have scaling elements to their composition. It's not clear cut when it gets to the late game, but if they can get this Victor strong, if they can get this Tristana strong, definitely in a, I guess, a better position than now, because having a 3k gold deficit at 40 minutes is not a positive spot to be in.
Oh, look at that. Crispberg even steals away the Gromp to make sure he picks that up. Got another pickaxe on top of the Gale Force finished up. He's for 2/3 of the way towards his collector already. Got a level lead on M-Test. He's been able to take 10 plates this game. Really, really big stuff there coming in from Crispberg, honestly. And this is the worry, is we were talking about how Godsent, they needed to execute on that level 6 marker, and when they could like really take the fights and, you know, give it to Nordavind, because if they sat back and let Nordavind control everything, this game just felt like it was going to be very, very hard for them to actually be able to close the game out.
I mean, I think my issue is I feel like it was always going to be difficult because you just don't have that early lane pressure. Like, you don't have the pressure from Ericsson to allow you to come out strong. Even Zombie, who was doing well against Kerberos in the 1v1, wasn't able to do anything with that because of map split early. I just feel like, you know, maybe those draft decisions kind of left Godsent in a position where they weren't able to capitalize as well as they'd like to in the early game.
Yeah.
The position they're in now is just rough. I mean, you can see Nordavind have a lot of pressure, making smart map rotations, priority on the objectives, and then translating that. And Godsent haven't really done much to answer in return. It's been like they've, you know, taken some plates here, taken some plates there, taken some farm, but ultimately drastically far behind. And yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to get to the point where Kerberos just massively outscales the Volley Bear.
Godsent looking to fight this. Nordavind have their jungler about. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, there is a fight breaking out, but this is the one we want to keep our eyes on. Skirmish from Rift Herald as Curb able to hook shot away to safety, and Rift Herald is secured by Nordavind. Curb getting chunked, does have the Divine Sunderer, and Zombie's used the shield now, so should be able to be comfortable to pick up this wave underneath his tower.
Yeah, interesting we're seeing the Triforce Volley Bear. Not a particularly common build, I'd say. A lot of people going towards either, I mean, I guess I understand the decision making for it, because a lot of people go towards the likes of a Stride Breaker or a Crossfire Gauntlet, but I think here he wants to be able to duel the Camille for longer and hold up in the 1v1. As you saw there, he actually held up in the 1v1 pretty all right. Does eventually get to a point where Camille will just win, but delaying that for as long as possible is important.
Bases come in, teleports come in, and Nordavind just spending their gold. Lucidity Boots now picked up for Ericsson, so work on that extra CDR. Typically the build we've seen on most Syndras as of late.
Godsent have hit that point where they're like, okay, we want to contest this dragon. We don't want to give them 3, but I mean, I'm looking at the items. Gore Drinker, CDR Boots for Sharp, a massive spike, but it's Crispberg on 2 items. Collector and Gale Force, a massive advantage. Godsent need a miracle here to win this team fight.
Yeah, well, here it comes. QuickTimer sliding in. Everybody knocked up, and Curb takes out QuickTimer like he's nothing. Kerberos launching in as the Unleashed Power secures the kill for Ericsson. And that's just 2 easy kills for Nordavind as the flanks coming in, and Curb is on the hunt. Silk will be taking everything to the face as a Scatter of the Week secures the kill. And Crispberg slides in for a cheeky double. Silk able to dodge away on the Void Seeker. As Touch hunts him down, not going to commit for anything else. 4 for none for Nordavind. They'll get the dragon, and it looks like they're going to take a turret as well.
Yeah, I mean, even ignoring the item differential, that just was not a good fight for Godsent. And Chrisberg is the main beneficiary, picking up another 2 kills. 4-0-1 now, will get a tower as well. This Kai'Sa is so strong right now.
We're talking about playing with fire a little bit there, but not going to get yourself caught out. Let's have a look at this engage again.
They're trying to bait, but Touch is smart, and he's the one to face check and able to get a triple Alistair pulverize as a result. And instantly, M-Test and Silk have to back away. They're not doing too much damage, and their front line just gets decimated. And then the chase continues. Kerberos with a great flank, and it's just cleanup from this point. The fight was almost instantly won, with the Rakan getting blown up immediately, and then the Alistair obviously surviving with his ultimate and get a massive pulverize. Really just decided that one. And now with a 6k gold lead, 3 dragons in the bag, Nordavind looking like this may be their first win.
Might just be the case, but 4 members are hunting Kerberos in this top lane. He has got the flash and the hook shot. He's going to look to get himself out of there. M-Test committing. They look for the flash, and Kerb is going to burn it. 4 members committed topside to burn Kerberos' flash, and he's just going to chill out, wait for them all to leave, and Nordavind in the meantime just gonna commit 3 members to staking away some jungle. But Touch is hunting down Zombie. Pop himself the Shirelius for the movement speed. Not gonna get close enough, as the Sky Splitter slow is enough to stop Touch's chase.
Oh, there's the... Oh my god, the 80 carry goal difference.
Oh my lord.
4,000 at 18 minutes. And it's what we expected. We've seen even in the losses, Chrisberg has been maintaining that 10 CS per minute mark. The team have been funneling gold onto him. It hasn't worked. It led them to 2 losses, and it just wasn't enough. Chrisberg was doing his most to try and carry, but here against Godsent, looks like he is in firm control. And a really comfortable spot. I mean, it's M-Test being on 1 item, and Chrisberg's closing on his 3rd is just really tragic.
It's feeling a little doomed. I hate saying it, but
I mean, it's not just the goal,
so
but it's
far ahead, and Godsent have so little windows of like opportunities to make mistakes.
Yeah,
and it feels like every time they've had their opportunity to make like a play, it's fallen wrong for them. And now they've not been able to take a single turret. We're 3 minutes off a Mountain Soul. Well, Kai'Sa's already doing crazy damage. She's gonna have a lot of resistances and a shield to work with. It is feeling very, very rough right now.
I mean, I feel like at this point, Kai'Sa Q would just basically one-shot M-Test if he's isolated. But, you know, there is still a window of opportunity for Godsent. And you know what? All they need is one thing, Jake. They need a Kai'Sa moment. We saw a couple of those yesterday. If they get a Kai'Sa moment,
I don't know if the Kai'Sa moment's enough right now, though. You're looking at a 3-item Kai'Sa into a 1-item Tristana. Like, I mean, a Kai'Sa moment might be like a highlight moment.
You get a Kai'Sa moment where she like jumps in, instantly gets locked up by the CC from Quick Timer, and then dies. That's a massive shutdown, and the rest of the team might end up falling apart around that. And if you can transition that into Dragon and Baron, it's a big if. It would be a massive misplay from Nordavind, and I think it sort of tells how negative a position Godsent are in that they need such a massive misplay from Nordavind. But that's really what Godsent are hoping for. They need an overstep and a massive one to come out from Nordavind, because as you said, 3 items now on the Kai'Sa, Runan's finished, and the Tristana's just on the Kraken Slayer. That's so depressing.
Oh, Sharp actually got some farm. That's nice. Chrisberg making sure his jungle at least gets something. He's like, you've got your gold drinker. That's all you need. I need more items. 217 CS to 166. Gold lead 7,100.
Wait, is that the total or between the 80 carries?
To be honest, most of that is actually
it's so
3K.
A huge lead. It's
3K
4K.
of that gold lead is on Chrisberg.
It's 4,000.
It's 4,000. Sorry.
Yeah.
Over half the gold lead is on Chrisberg.
More than like even a Rabadon's isn't that expensive.
This is probably just dead. Yeah.
Wow. You made a mistake of existing.
Your fault. Kerb, take fighting zombie here. Not committing with a hook shot yet. There's a
lot of respect, actually. A lot of respect there from Kerberos. Definitely was winning that 1v1 2 items, got the advantage from the global gold, and Kerberos is at the point where he absolutely wins that matchup. But playing respectful, not committing too hard. He knows his team just got to pick and get that mid tower. So good patience coming out.
Didn't want a Kerberos moment. We all know those happen. Anyone who's followed this man's career over the years knows there's the highs and then there's the Triforce Cho'Gaths.
I will say that over his career, he's definitely become a bit more strained, but Engage coming in.
Well, Touch is going to miss the Pulverize and he's going to trample back towards his team. But you are correct about Curb. Curb has actually really tempered his playstyle. When I first joined the UK League scene, he was actually a Kayle player, and that was it. But
that's the
I'm going to ignore that fact right now, because Chris Berg might be looking for his Kai'Sa moment. They're going to teleport people in. Baron for Dragon is the trade. Half health on this Dragon on this Baron right now, and Chris Berg looking for his opportunity. Getting blinded up by one for now. Quick time, they're looking for it. As the Scatter the Weak connects onto multiple members. This is the fight Nordavind want to find, though. The gravity field's not going to be there, and Dragon not secured. Baron very, very cleverly snuck away by Godsent. Big denial.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Soul's still going to go to Nordavind, but that was happening anyway. But getting the Baron away, a really nice call coming out from Godsent to sneak that one. Pretty doomed situation. They managed to find the silver lining. Definitely doesn't turn this game around, but it denies the Baron from Nordavind. Gives a bit of gold back and experience towards Godsent. It's a really nice call on that one. And I think Nordavind's just a bit sloppy, overcommitting too heavily to this Mountain Soul and not setting up vision. That's one of the key things. When you're this far ahead, you want to have vision across the entire map. You want to make sure if the enemy team are moving out their base, you know where they're going. You don't even need your whole team to go there. You honestly could have just had Kerberos solo the Dragon. If your team are playing pushed up, you deny the enemy team.
Which mid's baiting which right now, as Silky's going to take the headbutt Polv, and it turns out it's Silk who's baiting.
Didn't even need the R.
Unleashed Power's going to be there, and Chris Berg waiting for his opportunity, slides in, collects on one, looking for a decision, and we'll be able to get him with one last auto on that collector. Boom! Double kill for Chris Berg. Touch goes for the headbutt Polv, M-Test flashes away to safety. It's a 2 for none in favor of Nordavind.
I mean, that Baron run not really doing much for you there. I think Godsent positioned a little bit too aggressively, maybe given some overconfidence from picking up the Baron. Nordavind still massively ahead, able to find these engages, and they'll play this one slow. Gonna let the wave push in bot and just take this inhibitor, or are they gonna go for a reset? I think maybe just go for the reset here. I guess respecting Godsent, but there's no real pressure for Nordavind to make something happen now. As was talked about earlier, the scaling isn't even super favorably for Godsent. It would definitely benefit them going later, just because, you know, the gold lead wouldn't feel as relevant further in the game. But Nordavind are fine to take this one later. They are fine to slow the game down, put the brakes on, pick up some farm, spend their gold, and just slowly take this one. They don't want to mess up when they're already 0-2 in the NLC.
Well, we'll have a little look at this pick in the jungle once again. Started with Silk getting caught out by Touch.
I mean, you can see that Godsent's positioning suggests that they were looking to make a play of their own. And it's like, you got Baron. You don't need to be going for these hero plays. Just clear the waves and defend. You've bought yourselves time, but they try and go for it. And Nordavind, they have a ton of engage. Chris Berg's able to fly in afterwards, and he isn't really challenged at all. Nothing's done to him. He's just able to clean up the kills. And I think Godsent, the Baron call was a really, really good one. I think that play was a little bit ambitious and just gave Nordavind an easy time to pick up some more gold.
Well, tower's going to go down in the top side. It's the last turret outside of the base to work with, as Touch getting jumped onto by Quick Time and a couple of members. Kerberos now knows where everyone is, so this time should feel comfortable taking this fight. Has the hook shot, has the stun. He's not really committing. There's a lot of respect being played by Kerb here.
He doesn't need to. There's no pressure for him to massively win this matchup. He can just chunk Zombie down and keep applying pressure, get some damage on the tower. Zombie really just does not... Oh, man, look at that damage.
Look at that heal, though, Zombie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big heal, but it's the fact that, you know, Kerberos does so much true damage.
Oh, they are fighting out. Kerb actually throws out the ulti and looks to jump away. Zombie...
Really respectful. Okay, I was saying he was respectful, being patient. I think he could have gone back in and killed him, but maybe cautious about someone from Godsent roaming over. Definitely patient play, definitely respectful, not wanting to throw anything away. But I think Camille getting to that critical mass where Zombie's just not going to be able to hold her.
You know, Nordavind are trying to close out their first game when even Kerberos is playing very passively. And
Oh, this could be the engage.
That's a big scatter. Quick
Great
time
knock away. Oh,
and that is
beautiful.
Chrisberg just sniping for the kill. Quick time has to jump over the wall and the tower will crumble. Only Nexus turrets left standing now as the inhibitors are getting taken out by Nordavind.
Spot tower gone as well.
This last one.
And Godsent's engage tools are gone. The volley bear doesn't have his ult either. Rakan, nothing to offer, so they kind of just have to watch as their base is decimated.
Yeah, they got the waves as well. They might just look to close this out here. Supers are here. Big wave as Curve has been stacking up. As Quick Time Elixir the knock up onto one. Isn't going to find it. And Chrisberg still untouched. Touch is trying to get himself onto that backline. Does get himself a bit of a knock up, but he's already taking a lot of damage on return as the Chaos Storm is starting to cook Nordavind alive here, but all of the turrets in this game have fallen down. And Nordavind not closing yet. M-Test is back on the map. Health bars and mana bars are a little bit too low. So they're going to reset, get themselves some items, and get back into the map.
Yeah, with the neutrals now spawning, I think it's the right decision. A lot of people might be watching and might be like, oh, come on, you could have just ended. Why risk it? You know, why risk it in this situation? If you're going to lose the game, that was the place you were going to lose it. So just go back, let the super minions do their work, get the Baron, get the Elder, and then go to end. The one caveat for Godsent is if they manage to deny these objectives or even win a fight, they will have 3 waves of supers that they can farm up. There's a lot of wave clear on this team. So again, gonna take a miracle. It's a real long shot, but if they manage to pull out of the bag here, they will actually put themselves in a decent position.
I mean, I know we keep harking back to it, but Chrisberg, almost full build, got the stopwatch in the inventory, M-Test, Kraken Slayer, Phantom Dancer.
What's the goal difference now? That's what I want to see. Yeah, it's grown 6,000.
Oh my lord. Curb fighting Zombie here. Still paying a lot of respect to him. Zombie looks for the stun. Curb hook shots away, and Zombie actually might find him. Gets a lot of damage back off as he throws the ultimate. Stopwatch used by Curb as he pulls him in to the Hextech ultimatum. Zombie going low, but gets a big heal in and still joins into the fight. Curb still able to escape. Ericsson flashes over the wall, looks for the unleashed power, gets jumped onto, gets the scatter off, uses the stopwatch, but the rest of the team are just inside the base. They're looking to close it. Silk survives, and Curb is teleporting back in. He's trying to run interrupt, trying to stop these recalls. Can he do it with the sweep? Yes, he can, on indecision at least. And now Touch and Chrisberg are just onto the Nexus. Godsent have lost their opportunity as Touch finds the knock-up, and Chrisberg cashes in on a double kill. 29 minutes on the clock, and Nordavind get their first win.
2 kills. Ericsson goes down 2 times, and that is all that separates that from being a perfect game. Pretty one-sided from that game, and I mean, we kind of saw it coming. All of our analysts predicting in favor of Nordavind, despite the fact that there was 0-2. I think this is a bit more of what we expected, but you can see there are still moments where they were playing this slow.
Yeah.
They kind of looked at week 1 and they're like, we need to make sure we are nailing things. And it's a bit rough. We've definitely seen better performances from Godsent, but I think it was just kind of from that early play, Nordavind came in with a plan. They really cemented so much gold on the Chrisberg, and he just became just unbeatable. I think Godsent have a couple of things to look at from that, the draft and the early decision making, but I think Nordavind just looking on form.
Yeah, really good return there from Nordavind after a tough week 1, but they were able to bounce back and find themselves a win over Godsent. Guys, we're going to throw to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll let our analyst desk break that game down a little bit more, so we see you in a jiffy.
Welcome back, and for once the analysts got something right. Nordavind absolutely in control of that game, and they finally had...
Why do you say that like we never get stuff right?
Because sometimes we predict...
Hey.
Don't worry, Google. Anyway, we have Godsent. They didn't get a win, and Nordavind got the win. You threw me off, Gulborg. You threw me off. Okay, Nordavind got the win, Gulborg. Tell me why.
Yeah, Nordavind got the win because they actually had winning lanes this time. It was like they didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to do any crazy lane swap. They just had to have a priority in lane and an Olaf who started doing objectives while you just outscaled the opponent, and you could see how desperate Godsent got, took fights that was just not in their favor, getting Chrisberg ahead, and as soon as that Kaiser is ahead, it's really easy to close out that game.
Yeah, I kind of touched on it briefly as we was closing out the draft. It kind of just felt like Godsent didn't reliably have somewhere to play around either. And giving complete freedom to an Olaf Syndra to kind of just run around the map and do whatever they feel like, it's not ideal. And then when you're also talking about, hey, Nordavind just put all the resources into Chrisberg, I think he got 10 plates on both sides. It was just kind of...
He's a bit of a Terminator. We could call him Chrisberg. He's a bit of a machine. We have a little bit of a Professor Gulborg segment coming your way. So let's break down one of the plays from that game on our patented drawing board TM.
Yes, here we are. And once again, I want to talk about PVO. Pressure, Vision, Objective. Let me set the scene for you here. Nordavind has just reset after getting a turret mid lane, so they opened up the map. But problem is they didn't time their reset timers with the Drake. That meant that Godsent got in there and could get the Drake first. So let's just have a look, and that's a magic trick right there. This is all the vision you have for Nordavind right now. And that just means that they're kind of forced to face check. Let's pause it once again. You can see the lanes right now and the state of where they are. If they want to get in here, they will have to run directly into Godsent. And normally that's a big no-no. That's a big something you shouldn't do. So here's why you shouldn't do it, because they can stack up on you, they can single one member down, and you will inevitably lose the fight. But luckily for Nordavind, you just have a turbo-fed team right here. They're all going in Alistar, and none of this matters. This right here should have been a bad play from Nordavind. This is something they usually do, or they've had some issues with where they have the reset timer, it doesn't pay off for them. But this time, the early game's just gone so well for them that even if they make a decision like this, they are able to ignore the rules of basic macro, and they ignore the PVO, but still come out on top.
You know what, PVO, again, I've said it before, it's part of Gulborg's series of books he has coming out, and of course this follows on from his very, very popular Win Lane Win Game series that, again, PVO is the follow-up book to that. Anyway, I have an interview, I believe, with Ericsson from Nordavind, so I'm going to chat to Ericsson, and it's really nice because I haven't had the chance to chat to Ericsson since last split. So Ericsson, it is good to hear from you. Obviously, getting your first win on the board is really important for Nordavind. What did you do from last week into this week to kind of just fix what was going wrong with you, or wrong with your team for the first week?
So like we didn't really have a lot of practice compared to other teams. I think and the practice that we did have wasn't really going that well. I think we had like a lot of growing pains because we were obviously a new team, and like the whole moving in situation into the gaming house was like quite a hassle as well. But I think we're finally like seeing the progress that we want, and we're on the right track to try to contest for the master spot.
Yeah, well, that's obviously the goal. I mean, I think you have a really strong roster to be able to do so. What is it for you? Did you change the way that you were thinking about the game from last week? Because I know last week you were playing things that we didn't classically associate with you, like the Yone, for instance. Is that something that you're really confident on, or was it just something that you're picking because it suited the situation? Like, was there any changes in the way that you're approaching the game coming into this week?
I mean, so for the Yone pick, it's like something I've been practicing, but I think we got so fucked early game that it didn't really matter. Like we just played really bad, honestly. I think it was a pretty bad game by us, but
sure.
Yeah, it's definitely like something in my pool, but I didn't think it was a great performance, but so
you're saying we might get to see the Yone later on.
Hopefully we get to see it again, yeah.
I'd like to see the Yone. I'd like to see Ericsson's Yone in a game where you guys can actually compete with it as well, which would be nice. Of course, like you've got I'm just double checking who you're playing up against next. You are going to be playing into Granite tomorrow, I believe. So Granite will be your a game for you tomorrow. How do you feel about that matchup, given that Granite have actually come into the tournament and have looked actually rather strong compared to most people's expectations? How do you feel about going into Granite gaming, and how do you see that matchup going?
Yeah, I mean, Granite has been looking pretty surprisingly good so far. I think they will bring more fight than Godsent did, so I'm kind of looking forward to playing them and see what their level's at.
And are you going to ban Rise and Victor?
Yeah, maybe. Like I heard it's a 2-trick, so we'll see.
Oh, I like it. Do you know what? I'm going to end on that one because I know it's going to be set up for a nice spicy matchup tomorrow, mate. Honestly, Ericsson, thanks for chatting to me. And congratulations on your win. I hope to see many more of them for Nordavind, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good. I heard he's a 2-trick, boys, and that's. I thought I'd leave it at that because I thought it's a bit of an interesting one because I know how confident Sahira is. I know he's definitely. I mean, I love Sahira's personality. He's such a great guy to shine the spotlight on. But he has only played Victor and Rise so far, so I'm interested to see if they can push those boundaries and see how that matchup goes when they might face up tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I think it's just going to be interesting because you have someone who's not afraid of just throwing everything onto the early game. And right now, the win we got out of Nordavind was like calm, collected from the pressure of the lanes. You have a jungler who's able to take that just out like completely uncompeted, like it wasn't contested. But I don't think you'll have the same luxury against Granite Gaming. They will for sure throw their bodies at you and try to claim what's theirs.
I'm very excited to see it. Honestly, I think it's going to be good. I'm sorry to have to cut us off a little bit short because we do have another game coming your way. It is going to be Tricked versus BTXL. I promise, Jamada, I'll let you come in first on that one. So we'll be back after the break and we'll chat about that one.